The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Oh, I like that, man. I like that. That bass line's a little funky.
Oh, yeah. That is the new intro for our No Credentials Required happy hour. But thank you for joining us on No Credentials Required, our happy hour episode, where you don't need to press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is a man who did not secure the bag this afternoon, unless it was a bag of grass trimmings. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how we doing tonight?
Doing all right. I mowed my lawn. I'm ready to go. And I don't know if you noticed my apparel, but we haven't talked about it in a long time. So I'm advertising for our shirt shop. Right here.
Hey!
Right here. There it is. There it is. I am that guy. It's the old rule. You never want to be that guy when you go see a band in concert. People are like, don't be that guy. Don't wear the band shirt. I'm violating all the rules right now because I'm wearing our podcast shirt for the podcast, Podception. Go check out our link.
Yes, it's in the description and on our YouTube and on Facebook. It's our bonfire store. Dustin's wearing the No Shave November shirt, which is a fundraiser for men's cancer awareness. We also have different shirts on in that store. Most of them I've created, including my arson judge, John Heyman arson judge tweet that is forever out in the ether. That's right. I'm capitalizing on somebody else's reporting error. Go me.
Let's cash in.
All right. Before we get to everything, we're going to bring in our friend Kevin Wilson from Belly Up Fantasy Sports tonight, but we're going to talk about baseball. We're going to talk about football. We're going to react to the schedules that was released on Wednesday. I held off with social. I don't know about you, Dustin, but I held off with social media most of the day on Wednesday to prevent leakage. Because
I did as well. I said if the captain of NCR is doing it, I'm going to do it too.
That's right. And we're also drinking beers tonight. So, we are. Our guest is probably, I don't know if he is or not, but I got my beer of choice on hand. I've actually got two of them because they're small cans. They're not the big. They're not tall boys. They're small boys. That's okay. We like small boys. We like. Okay, I'm choosing my words very carefully. I choose my phrasing very carefully. I'm not going to say that. But in the meantime, oh man, show's gone off the rails already.
Yeah,
I haven't yet had one beverage. So please follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Search for No Credentials Required. Also, check out our other podcasts and written articles on bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when we go live. That way you know when videos go up. That way you know when general show announcements go up on social media. On the podcast side, rate, review, comment, leave a rate. 5-star rating would be helpful. Leave a rating where you can on a podcast platform where you can leave a rating, and also on Spotify, leave a comment. We're also a live show Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. and most Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. Dustin has an appointment tomorrow, so we decided, once a quarter. We're probably gonna do this once a quarter. Okay. But we go live on a Friday. We have a couple adult beverages. Audience is also free to participate in the adult beverage. I've got mine set. But if this show is going to be live on our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channels. The replay will be available on the YouTube side on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel tomorrow morning. So 10 a.m. if you miss it. But we're a live show. So once you leave comments, we've got plenty of comments rolling in from one of our cred heads. And Dustin, I know sometimes you want to hear different tunes at a bar, but this tune in particular always strikes my fancy.
I am always happy to hear this one come on the jukebox. It is time for chime time.
This one's called Chime Time. This goes out to you. All right, we're going to bring in our Saturday guest. Usually on Saturdays, he's going to be with us during baseball season. Since we're doing tonight's show, he was kind enough to bring us in he was kind enough to stop by on Friday night. We know he's got work in a little while, but it's our Saturdays with Kevin segment. It's a new graphic I created. You're welcome. It's a very 1980s sitcom feel. That's why I wanted it to be.
It's a great graphic, man. You pulled it off. You pulled it off for sure.
Thank you. So we'll bring him in from Belly Up Fantasy Sports. He's one of our favorite guests on the show. I think Kevin Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's been on No Credentials Required the most as a guest.
He probably has. I would venture during my tenure, it's Kevin, and then if I had to guess who was in second, it would be a tie between D. Willie and the captain of another podcast I'm on, one Mr. Staniel Smooth. I think he's been on the show a fair amount.
And also Levac and Gods have also been on this program.
Yeah, they have.
Kevin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and we had to battle the heat wave that took us over in Texas. No rain this week, but it was almost 100 degrees here over the week. So we survived that, and it's been a great sports week, because I grew up in Indiana, and the Indiana Pacers are in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I live in Texas, and the Dallas Stars are playing tomorrow for the chance to go to their third straight Western Conference Final, and you covered this the other day, but we also had the Mavericks, whichever you want to call that, luck, magic, or the fairy, so they got the number one pick, and that certainly leads to some things to talk about. But it's been a great sports week here, so you got to be, if you're into sports and you're not into it this week, then you need to just go sit down and do something, because it's an exciting time.
Yeah, you got to check your pulse.
That's right.
Yeah, right. If you're not excited about this week in sports,
That's right.
You're 6 feet underground or in an urn somewhere.
Yeah, especially with the schedules coming out. This whole week has just been crazy, one thing after the next. So
I have to ask you, Kevin, because Dustin and I talked about it. We abstained from social media on Wednesday because we wanted to be Christmas Day. We wanted to be like Christmas Day. Did you do the same thing to avoid leakage?
I did.
Good for you.
That kind of ruined the surprise just a little bit, because the week one game between the 49ers and the Seahawks was leaked well before. And so I would have rather that come out on Wednesday as well. And so other than that, I abstained from and until well afterwards when the whole schedule came out. So I was able to just dive right in and consume.
Yeah.
And that's the way I did it.
Yeah. I hate the fact that we have these schedule leaks because I made a meme. I posted it on my Twitter account at Who Is Ryan MCC, by the way. I'm a great follow, FYI.
He is. I'll test.
I created a meme. It said, you know how you see those Facebook marked safe from, like people have there's a disaster. Usually there's a natural disaster, like there's an earthquake or a tornado or a hurricane. I created a meme. It said, marked safe from early NFL schedule spoilers from unscrupulous content farmers today.
Okay.
Yeah, you really had to. I mean, for me, I unplugged. If I saw anything about it, especially because I follow all the Seahawks social media accounts, I scrolled right by. And Kevin and I, we may have you may see us talking about the Seahawks very shortly. We're trying we're trying to work it out with our fearless leader on that show. But you may see us again very soon.
I'm confident that you will see us on that show. And so I'm also fairly confident I won't be getting to a lot of Seahawks discussion about their schedule. Otherwise, why would you tune into that other show?
Yeah. I'll be talking about the Seahawks here a bit because I
little
can't.
bit.
I'll be talking about the Jets.
Just
Don't you worry.
As a kind of a, you'd want to stay tuned because the first game is something that we need to discuss. And so I am going to get into that because there's a significant part of what the Seahawks are going to be about that's going to be revealed in that first game. So I'm pretty jazzed up about that.
We'll touch up on that a little bit later. But
Okay.
first, beer me.
Okay.
Dustin, when we discuss this, usually on Happy Hour, I did this in the past with my other shows, like Around for the Weekend,
Yes.
50 episodes strong in 2020 and 2021. This was back when we couldn't go outside and do stuff. So I had a beer and I talked sports for half hour, 45 minutes. Depending.
I tuned into a couple of those lives.
Did.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that. But I decided to continue it with no credentials required Happy Hour, which is usually on a Friday too. And that kind of continued it. But because after Dustin came on and was a regular co-host of mine, we every once in a while we'd have it. But I figured, right now once a quarter will be good for to have a beer, talk sports, and let's see what everybody's having. So Kevin,
yes.
What are you having?
Well, as I was explaining to you, work's going to get away of alcoholic beverages this evening. But if I were to be participating, and seeing as how I'm in Texas, Shiner Bock would be boldly featured right here. And if you have never tried that, then you need to get out and go to a place that has all kinds of different beers and get yourself a Shiner Bock.
We do have them. We do have them distributed up in New York. So I've had quite a few Shiner Bocks, and Shiner Bocks are delicious.
Okay, I'm glad we have that established. But there is one critical element to the entire beer drinking experience for me, and that is that limes must be present.
Okay, you're putting limes in all beers, not just Mexican lagers.
No, and it's not you see the commercials where they got the cerveza or whatever it is, and they put the lime in the top of the beer. No, that's not cutting it.
Oh, I dunk it in too, Kevin. I'm with you.
I want the glass, okay? And so you can sit there and squeeze that lime and get every last bit of, production out of it. And then you got the beer going on and just sit there and enjoy that. And, so lime is paramount to the beer drinking experience for me.
Okay. Dustin, what are you drinking?
I can get behind that, Kevin, because you're in hot weather almost the entire year. For us polar bears up here in New York, we our beer tastes change as the year goes on. But tonight, Ryan, as you all know, I was recently in Virginia visiting friends of mine, and we usually try a brewery or distillery, something, at least a couple, when I'm down there. So went to a brewery in Williamsburg, and it is called Billsburg Brewery, and I'm drinking their Planet 4 Red Ale because I don't see too many red ales in places, Ryan. I don't know about you and Kevin. I don't spot them that commonly. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get myself a red ale, something besides Killian's. And I think, Ryan, you may know, I think Katie O'Byrne's used to have a red ale around here that was exclusive to them. I could be thinking of Pinhead Susan's. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it was one of those. They had a red ale back in the day. And I believe Bones Brew at Smoky Bones across the street that was a red ale. Yes.
It was actually Davidson Brothers up in Glens Falls. Okay. They collaborated with Katie O'Byrne's to make Katie O'Byrne's red ale.
Okay. So I was right about that.
Real-time research.
Yeah. Thank you. That was fast. But I'm drinking this red ale and I'm enjoying it so far. And I got the 6-pack. I hadn't tried it yet, but I like it. The Planet 4 red ale. It is named after Mars, the fourth planet. That's why it's named after the fourth planet due to its beautiful red copper color. This red ale's aroma sets the tone with a huge malt scent combined alongside stone fruit. A medium body brings back the malt-heavy flavor, and a nice tan head laces the glass with a slight dry finish. And I can confirm now it looks a little different than when I first poured it, but there it is. It is red. You can't really see it on my camera, but Kevin, you'll appreciate my glass selection. It is the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl champion glass.
Oh,
and
you're bringing on the power right there. So yeah.
And who doesn't like a nice amber head?
That's
very true.
That's true. Now, Ryan,
you can take that in multiple ways.
yes, you can. So I'm going to transition.
It's happy hour, damn it! I'm going. It's happy hour, damn it! I'm going with the double entendres. I don't care.
And with that, I transfer it over to you, sir. What are you drinking tonight?
So I got this beer in our last production meeting from we went to Treehouse and Brewing in Saratoga. They opened up a little tap room. Not want to say little tap room. It's a pretty freaking big tap room.
Yes, it is.
Tap room in Saratoga, New York. And I got this Belgian Pilsner called Perel. I'm not sure if it's how you pronounce it, but this is what I got. And the can says, and I quote, "Indulge in the golden embrace of our Belgian Pale Pilsner Perel, an homage to tradition and historic craftsmanship, brewed with Belgian Pilsner malt, a venerable yeast strain from West Belgium, and a blend of Czech Saaz and German Saphir hops. This Treehouse original is naturally carbonated for a smooth body and pleasing disposition." And who doesn't love a smooth body and pleasing disposition?
That's right. True.
Pouring a brilliant golden hue with a robust head of foam, it unveils a clean, crisp, and zippy profile that is sure to be perfectly refreshing. Enjoy notes of lemongrass, juniper, and a soft, noble character that lingers on the finish.
All right, I'm going to have to try that one. Lemongrass is something I appreciate as I get older.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this. I've had a couple of these, prior to tonight's episode. And let me tell you, if you looking for a Pilsner that's crushable, I mean, a hot day like this in New York, we've got it's pretty warm outside right now. Yeah. But a nice spring night, a little bit warm. Maybe you're out having a fire in the backyard. This is a great beer to have in your on your night out. Night outside. So, gentlemen,
hey, cheers, everybody.
Okay,
cheers
you sold me on the description, so I'm good with that.
Hey. So we got some comments in the comments section from one person in particular. D's Rays of Sunshine. She's having a strawberry mimosa.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I would go the raspberry route, but yeah, that's solid.
She also says Kevin's one of our favorite guests. We love Kevin.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Okay. And she says Ryan is spicy during happy hour.
He is spicy.
All right. Before we get into baseball talk, gentlemen, we had some breaking news happen.
Okay,
a little bit before this episode started. So I'll go ahead and play that stinger. Professional. So before the show started, Tom Pelissero broke the news from the NFL. 49ers and quarterback Brock Purdy, agreed to terms on a 5-year, $265 million extension. Purdy gets $181 million in guarantees, including $165.5 million in the first 3 new years of a deal that runs through 2030.
That right there is why you want to win when you're in the first year of a quarterback's contract. That's example one right there.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
sorry, Seahawks fans. You'll have to deal with Brock Purdy for another 5 seasons.
yeah, but you know what? You know what? This
right.
is, and I'll probably get into it because I assume we're probably going to talk about this on Seahawks sessions if we have a show, but I don't know yet. But I feel like, yeah, they paid Brock that money and he deserves that money. There's no denying it, and they knew that they had to hang on to him. And not bad for Mr. Irrelevant, eh? But
Oh yeah,
True.
the issue is, who are San Francisco going to be able to keep around him? They gave Kittle that extension, but Kittle's known to be injured every once in a while. They traded away one of their big receivers to the Commanders now. So, they're going to have to figure out new weapons in San Francisco, although who was it last year, Ryan? He was on your fantasy team, and you put him in, and he caught a bunch of touchdowns for you.
Juwan Jackson?
Yeah, or
Juwan Johnson? Or
on the 49ers, a receiver. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's the only it was Juwan Jackson, I think.
Jennings. Was it
Juwan
Jennings?
Jennings? Yes.
Yes.
Juwan Jennings. Yeah, he's the only player in the Super Bowl to ever throw and catch a touchdown.
So he'll have to step up next year,
that's right.
But we'll see what happens with that. But hey, well deserved for Brock. Happy for the guy, as much as it pains me to say that about a 49er. You heard it here first, Snowman.
Yeah, a certain Snowman is pretty happy that quote drama is over.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock Purdy getting himself paid. And that was one of the big storylines coming into this offseason, was whether obviously Brock Purdy stay. Well, I wouldn't say stay, but if he would be a training camp holdout. And from every indication from what Tom Pelissero has been news breaking, is that no, there will be no training camp drama. He's going to report. He's going to get that new contract. I suspect, like most of these big contracts, they won't go into effect until next season. So, but I could be wrong. The NFL, there is no salary cap in the NFL, gentlemen. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they find ways to defer money and do all sorts of things. Yeah.
And restructure all that.
And so that's, talk about baseball and a salary cap. They just do the exact same thing and get right around it as well. So I think that's a no starter for me as far as baseball is concerned.
Well, let's transition into baseball.
Okay.
Talk about the week in baseball. Scores, storylines, and more. That's right. Came up with that like 2 seconds ago.
There you go.
Kevin, what's the since you're our baseball guy, we talk about baseball, having you in for talk about baseball and keep us refreshed on what's going on. What have been the biggest storylines this week that you've noticed?
Well, the biggest storyline for me is just the unbelievable production that Mr. Aaron Judge is putting on. As entering play today, he's hitting .412. Okay, not just barely 400, but 412.
He was hitting .417 the other day. What the heck, Aaron Judge? Come on.
Well, and I have the stats because this past week, because I do a thing where I name my fantasy MVPs of the week, and Aaron Judge is the fantasy and real baseball player MVP so far. But he's always been edged out by a hitter in all these weeks. But there was no denying him this week because, let's face it, he hit 2 home runs on Saturday. He had 4 hits on Sunday, then 2 more hits on Monday, 2 hits on Wednesday. That's production right there, gentlemen.
Go-ahead home run in the 9th.
That's right. That's right.
And so in Seattle.
3 homers, 7 RBIs, 6 runs, and if you're into fantasy baseball, and you should be, okay, 34 fantasy points is what he put together in 6 days. And so he is just unbelievable, and he's not missing Mr. Soto in front of him batting even a little bit. And that is that's the big story in all of baseball to me, And if we wanted to, because you guys are New Yorkers, and so the pitcher that's got my attention is also a Yankee, and that's Max Fried.
Yeah.
He's
I
6
love
and
that
0.
signing.
Okay, 6
Great signing.
and 0. And so if you take those two guys away, Yankees 4th place, you know what I'm saying? But they've got them two guys, and it's just been an amazing show on both of their parts. And you're glad if you're a Yankee guy that Aaron Judge did not go to San Francisco as they were rumored to be. I'm not sure I bought that story even a little. And then they brought in Max Fried and said, Juan Soto, you want to go play for our New York rival? Well, you go ahead and do that. And Juan Soto has hit a few homers of late, but he's not having the kind of season you expect out of him. So I don't think they're missing him one iota.
By the way, our son Judge is a giant tweet. Is our shirt Bonfire Store, linked in the description.
Yeah, check it out. It's where
Okay.
these fine threads are from.
That's right.
But I have to agree with you, Kevin. I thought, and we had Eric Arditi on the show a couple shows ago to talk about Baltimore. He's a big Orioles fan.
Yeah.
Great show having him on. But he said this Yankee lineup outside of Aaron Judge doesn't scare you. I think Judge has been obviously the early MVP, but I have to say, and it's gonna sound biased as a Yankee fan, but I feel like Grissom has been helping carry the load a little bit there. And also, Ben Rice was really on fire for a while there. So they've had people. I mean, I know Jazz Chisholm has cooled way down, but
he's on the injured list right now. So
yeah, he's not, but he started the season hot. So I feel like the Yankees have these little pockets. Yes, the lineup, when you look at it as a whole, you're like, Judge is the scary guy, but as long as select people keep hitting around him at the same time, because people are saying Paul Goldschmidt has declined, and he has, but
wrong.
No, he's hit 348 right now.
He's hitting the 340s. I thought he was DOA because he's a right-hand hitter, and right-hand hitters don't thrive as much in Yankee Stadium because of the dimensions. So I thought he was going to go and die a slow death before the season began.
Yeah.
But he's hitting 340, and he's on my fantasy team. So
there you go.
Sometimes you just have to admit, hey, I was wrong. Okay. So, Paul, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
But I made up for it because you're on my team. So you can hit all the baseballs you want. You go ahead and do that.
I will say,
Schmitty, we know you're a fan of the show, so
big fan.
Hope you heard that apology.
Big fan. But the reason that I thought I am aware of, I wasn't aware his average was that high, but I knew
it's up there. Yeah.
I knew that he was overperforming, but I don't think it's gonna last. And I'm a big Paul Goldschmidt guy from his days in Arizona and his day, but I just don't think it's gonna keep up, because if you look at his numbers over the last couple seasons, they are declining. But Yankee Stadium has been a rebirth for him. There's no doubt about it. And if there's anything else you want to talk about before we transition out of baseball, I just want to leave you with one question. I know it's going to be AL East heavy, but I want to get, you're much more of an expert than I am. Did Ryan and I curse the Orioles? Is their slide for real? Is the offense, are they going to bounce back? Because the pitching we knew was going to be bad, but I thought the offense was going to be better than this. I mean, what are they? They won 15 games so far. They
You want to do some real-time research right here? Okay, hold on.
Oh boy,
I can do that. Okay, you guys aren't the only ones that can pull that off. All right, standings. Baltimore is 15 and 27.
Yeah,
and they're minus 74 in their run differential.
Oh,
that's just, and they're 9.5 games already out of first.
Yeah,
and we're a couple of weeks into May. I knew that their pitching was going to be suspect. I knew that, but I thought their offense would be way better than this.
Yeah.
And the guy that I work with, one of them, he goes by the nickname Baltimore, as he likes the Orioles, but his spirit has been crushed by what he's seeing going on with this team. And they're young players. We all thought that they would be better than what they have shown. And the pitching has been just truly awful. And Zach Zeflin came back. He pitched pretty well when he came off the injured list, but I do think that's a little too late. And and Tampa, I'm not a big believer in Tampa Bay because they've played by far the fewest road games of any team in Major League Baseball. And
You
they
know
haven't
why?
taken advantage of that schedule.
Yeah, you know why? Because they had to fit all those games in now because of the rainy season's coming.
Right. And I've
they're
been to
playing outdoor-
Florida.
they're playing
Trust
outdoor-
me.
And they're playing outdoors this year because
That's right.
because
And-
Tropicana Fields
Which
roof got
is
torn off.
interesting because they had not just one, but two rain delays this past weekend, the first in their franchise history, because they're playing outside. And I've been to Florida, and it rains every single day at 4 p.m. every day.
Oh, man.
Okay, so that's going to be a problem for them. They knew that was going to be an issue, and so, but they haven't taken advantage of that home-friendly schedule, and it's going to catch up to them. So I'm not a big believer in them. Toronto, they're playing better than I thought they would, and Boston. I know that if you're a Yankee guy, you can't like anything about Boston. I get that, but
I'll play the PSA.
you can go ahead and do that. But I don't think Boston is going to be a real threat to the Yankees.
No,
I don't
because
think-
outside of Garrett Crochet, their pitching is terrible.
Pitching and the whole Rafael Devers scenario
That's
going on there, and I think he's been a little unfairly brushed into this scenario. He's never played first base, and you're just going to give him a first base mitt, and he's going to go over there and play first. Come on, I'm not buying that. And he's finally hitting the ball. And let's face it, he was awful that first week when he struck out 19 times or 17
he
times.
was like
and
0 for 16 or something.
It was awful, but he's hitting the ball now. You just leave him alone and let him do his thing. And if you need to make a trade, because the first baseman that they had, two of them are on the IL now.
Yeah, Tristan Casas, he's on the IL for me.
And
that hurts.
that other, I kind of liked him. What was his name? Romy Gonzalez, I think it was. He has a back problem. And so now they have nobody to play first. But that's not Rafael Devers' fault. So
No.
I hate to be in his corner at all because I'm, as far as his attitude and things, I think is not good. But they're not helping him out in that scenario at all.
By the way, as we record this episode, as we're live, is currently in the bottom of the fourth in Yankee Stadium. It is 6-1 in favor of the New York Yankees.
Oh man, my Google
Subway
score
Series.
notification.
This is rivalry week.
It's rivalry weekend.
That's right.
Yes.
You've got the Subway Series. You've got the Texas teams going at it. You've got the Ohio teams going at it. Chicago teams, the Missouri teams. You got the Padres and the Mariners going at it. You've got the Athletics and the San Francisco Giants going at it. So if you're into baseball at all, turn on the TV this weekend.
Yep, exactly. And I got quick before we go before we have an ad break, because I got an ad read because we have a new affiliate sponsor with no credentials required. I got revealed tonight.
Okay.
Juan Soto said yesterday. Actually, this was posted to social media yesterday by Fox Sports MLB. Juan Soto said, and I quote, "It's going to be 50,000 against 1. They're going to try to get me. It's part of it. Whatever they do, they have the right to do it." Close quote. And yes, Juan Soto in his first at bat was booed lustily by the home crowd at Yankee Stadium when he came out to take warm up out in right field. The bleacher creatures turned their backs on him to protest. So, but I have to say this about Juan Soto. Look, dude, you left on your own accord. Okay. Yeah. I actually quoted that tweet, and this is why I posted. I said, dude, you left on your own accord. God bless you and your ministry, but I'm going to be rooting for the 9 guys who wear the uniform of my team, not necessarily against you. And it just seems like he's making this series about himself. He's not making it. He's not making it about the 2 teams that are on the field. He's making it about himself. And I think that's part of the reason why he left. He left the Yankees. I mean, yeah, had a great year last year with us, with the Yankees. I'm sorry to say us. I hate when I do that.
Yeah, but we all do it.
But we all do it. But had a great season last year with the Yankees. They brought him in because they needed an extra bat for Aaron Judge. He gave him that support. He did that, and
he did that.
He made his numbers great. Got that big fat contract that he wanted, and now he's across town. And he knew this. He knew about this when he was coming in. He knew he was going to get booed. He knows he's going to get he's going to get the flack from the crowd at from the fans at Yankee Stadium, because he left on, I don't know if it was good terms or bad terms, but from what I understand, before the season began, we had news leaked that he kind of left on bad terms with most of his teammates. Like he deleted their phone numbers from his phone. I don't know if this is true or not. This is just speculation, but
yeah,
when he was going through free agency, he basically was persona non grata with much of the Yankees lineup, including Aaron Judge. So the fact that Aaron Judge, and I kind of had this fear entering the season that no one was going to protect him. You don't have to worry about that. With the season he's having, he's protecting himself.
He is, along with the timely hitting from others that is working out at the moment.
Exactly. More comments from the comments section. D's Ray Sunshine saying Aaron Judge is okay. He's not Ryan with the beard, but he's a good baseball player. And actually, what's funny is that when the Yankees came out and had their beard policy change, Aaron Judge said, "You know what? I got brought in as a Yankee. I knew what the expectations were." And he was asking if he was going to grow a beard and have any kind of facial hair. He said, "No, I knew what the rules were when I was drafted. I knew what was expected. I'm gonna abide by when I was drafted. I'm gonna stay clean shaven." And that's good for him. But I'm hoping. But when playoff time comes, Aaron Judge, better have a playoff beard.
Well,
hopefully the playoff beard will make you have better numbers in the postseason than like the last couple times.
That may be. I support that, because there was once where I actually tried to do a beard thing, and it was an unmitigated disaster in every respect. And so I've never tried it again after that. So smooth shave is the way it's going to be in the Wilson household.
Yeah, it's same way in my household, Kevin. I infamously tried to do a no shave November, and it ended up in the form of a mustache, which was not a good look for me. Not a good look.
Yeah. No. Well, good for you. Good for you guys for trying. I'm staying with the since I have no hair up here. I'm staying.
Hey man, you got it. You got it. You got it, man.
You're bringing on the power. So
I've not been clean shaven since February 2018, and it's a good thing, because without any facial hair, I look like a thumb.
Oh man,
it's bad.
I think I've seen you clean faced. I think
you went there.
I've had a little bit, but I've had a little bit of hair. To be fair, Dustin. To be fair, I did. That's when I still had kind of was dealing with hair.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time. Sometimes I forget that,
Yep. And I'm trying to remember who the big Yankee prospect, Spencer Jones. That's what Spencer Jones. So I know who's going to protect Aaron Judge a couple years from now. It's going to be Spencer Jones, the left-handed Aaron Judge.
Oh man, if he doesn't get an intro song for his at-bat song, that's Mr. Jones. I mean, he's missing an opportunity here.
Or Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones.
Yeah.
And Desiree Sunshine saying, was it the Uncle Rico mustache, Justin?
Oh, it was much worse. I have one picture of it in existence, and if I'm ever feeling like I really want to make people laugh, I'll bring it on the show. But I don't think the world needs to see that.
I don't think any pictures exist of me with facial hair, because I used to have a mustache, back in the day, and it wasn't happening. And so I bid that adieu a long time ago, and I made that decision a long time ago. Smooth shaven from here on out.
Coach kept me in the fourth quarter of the state championship. I would have won that thing. Would have gone pro. I'd be in a hot tub with my soulmate.
Uncle Rico was a high draft pick for in our mock draft this past.
It's true, he was.
We've got you go back in the archives and watch that if you haven't. That was a fun episode.
He was doing the underhanded sidearm action before Patrick Mahomes was.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna do our quick commercial break. We're gonna reveal a new affiliate sponsor with no credentials required, exclusively to no credentials required. And that is Fanatics.
Ooh, I like Fanatics.
No matter what you watch, the stadium, the couch, or the watch party, all things unite all fans. The gear. At Fanatics, we've got your team, your passion, your game day. Official jerseys, exclusive drops, and the freshest fan fits from kickoff to buzzer beater, from puck drop to walk-off. Thousands of styles, one destination, all Fanatics. Fanatics, the ultimate fan shop. Link in the description. It goes to our affiliate page where you can order your merch, you can order your gear, get your t-shirts, your shirts, get your t-shirts, sweatshirts, any kind of gear, baseball cards. They do baseball cards, any kind of memorabilia. You can find it at fanatics.com. Links in the description on both YouTube and on Facebook, and it will be in the podcast description. It's our affiliate link. Helps the show when you order through that affiliate link at Fanatics. Now, go ahead and buy your gear there today. I actually ordered myself, not with the affiliate link, unfortunately. It was before I got the affiliate link. I've got a Utah Mammoth t-shirt.
My mom is on that very thing right now. Get me one of those.
Yes, I got the logo. I got the logo with the.
Yes, the logo is pristine.
It's excellent. It's excellent. All right, gentlemen. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the NFL schedule release. We'll do our reactions to the release to the schedule release. Again, we all abstained from social media. We all abstained from the links from the leaks. And I mean, some trickled out officially from NBC, and Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football about which games are going to be happening. But as a podcast, we abstained from checking out the schedules before 8 p.m. on Wednesday. But when they were released, when the schedules were released, I kind of want to get your feeling on which games you're watching. I did the research on the toughest schedules and the easiest schedules, which teams have those. But I want to get your feeling on this, Dustin. Which games do you have on your end in terms of the NFL schedule? Which ones are you watching?
Okay, I kind of did this. I started going through week by week by week by week, and some of them I have multiple weeks selected, but we'd be here all night if I did that because we know how I can talk. So I took all the primetime games. I took the Monday night football games, the Sunday night football games, and yes, even the Thursday night football games, because guess who has Amazon Prime? So guess who's going to be watching the TNF games for no credentials required? It's going to be me, provided I don't fall asleep on the couch, which happened multiple times last season. So
yeah, I'll probably be doing the same thing, but I'll try not to fall asleep.
Yeah. So the first one that really popped out to me, it's week 3 of Monday Night Football, Ravens-Lions. I'm going to be very excited about this game. And the thing is, a lot of these takes, by the time we get to this point in the season, this could be a horrible game, but what do we have to go off of? We have to go off of what the teams did last year and what we think they're going to do this year. Ravens-Lions, I think, is going to be a great matchup because eventually, and I know you're listening, Julie from Michigan, I really think the Lions eventually are going to climb the mountain because they have that window. They've got to do it now with the talent that they have. And the Ravens are another team. How much longer can you keep that nucleus assembled? And how much longer? I mean, John Harbaugh, rather, He's a great coach, but he kind of has this thing. If you look at Baltimore's play in the postseason, sometimes Mr. Harbaugh makes some baffling decisions that has you scratching your head. And also the Ravens released Justin Tucker, so it's going to be weird to see somebody else kick for that team. But I'm very excited about the Ravens-Lions. Next, I've got week 6 earmarked because I have the Bills and Falcons, because I'm very excited to see what the Falcons do if they have Michael Penix under center, who looked very good at certain points in his playing time last year. And I've got the Bears and Commanders, simply because it's the number 1 quarterback of his draft versus the number 2 quarterback of his draft. And will we see the continued ascension of Jaden Daniels? Honorable mention to week 2. Chargers versus the Raiders. You might ask, why are you picking Chargers versus the Raiders? I'll tell you exactly why. Because Pete Carroll's back in the NFL. They drafted Ashton Jeanty, which I think is a perfect Pete Carroll pick. It establishes what he wants to do with his team. Geno's their quarterback now. And Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll do not like each other, okay? It dates all the way back from their time at USC and Stanford, respectively. It's the famous time when Jim Harbaugh ran up the score on Pete Carroll's Trojans, and Pete Carroll trotted across the field, and he said, "What's your deal?" at the end of the game. They do not like each other. The whole time that they were coaching the 49ers and Seahawks, it was the biggest rival in the NFC West. The biggest rivalry. Both of those teams were trying to go for the NFC. There's a lot to like. I, for one, will be there with a front row seat on my 65-inch TV. Thank you, Derek. To watch Carroll versus Harbaugh again. So those are and also got to get a little Seahawks talk in here. I will be thrilled to be able to watch the Seahawks on Monday Night Football, Week 7 versus the Texans. I think it could be a test against a real defense because DeMeco Ryans, he's going to have that Texans defense playing well, I think. And we'll also get to see another year of Mike McDonald's defense, the continued evolution, and how will Sam Darnold do? We'll find out. So those are the Monday Night Football games. I can get into the Sunday Night Football games and Thursday Night Football games if we'd like to. But first, I'd like to pass it off to one of you to get some of your thoughts before I keep talking.
It's all right. Kevin, what's your thoughts on the schedule?
Okay, so as I was mentioning, that the one game that got, one of them anyways, that got leaked was the 49ers and the Seahawks week 1. And as we all know, that the Seahawks made all these changes and everything else, and we're going to find out right off the bat how those changes look, because the Seahawks have, in recent years, have had issues with the 49ers, which pains me to no end, because there's not a team that I despise more than the 49ers. And so, but over the last, 4 years or so, the 49ers were beating them every year. And so we're going to see right off the bat whether or not this is going to work for the the Seahawks. So I'm looking forward to that game. And Dustin, you didn't go into the Thursday night games. I'll go into that a little bit because in the past, Thursday night games have been just a big pile of steaming dog doo-doo.
Yeah.
I used to call Thursday Night Football Thursday Night Football.
Yes.
But I'm looking at the schedule right here, and there are some divisional rivalry games that are going on, and that starts right off week 4. You got the Seahawks and the Cardinals. The next week, you've got the 49ers and the Rams. The week after that is Philadelphia and the Giants. Maybe that's not such a big deal because the Giants, who knows what's going on with them.
Yeah.
But later on in week 10, you've got the Raiders at the Broncos. Are the Raiders going to be any good? Well, winning in Denver is always a hard thing to do.
Yep.
And then you've got the Thanksgiving game. And then, of course, I'm in Texas. So the Chiefs come in here to play the Cowboys. And fortunately for me, it's a local game. So it will be on local TV because I went and I canceled my Netflix prescription or whatever, however you call it. Subscription. I'm sorry. Okay. Because there was nothing on for me to watch on Netflix. That was just my opinion about that. And then on Christmas Day, you've got the Cowboys going to play the Washington Commanders. And once again, that is a local game, so I don't have to have whatever game that is. I think that's a Netflix game.
They're both Netflix games, yeah.
Okay, so you can have your Netflix, okay? And I'll watch it on the local, probably on channel 11 here in the local market.
So the early afternoon and late afternoon games are on Netflix. The nightcap is on Prime Video because Dallas at Washington at 1, Detroit at Minnesota at 4:30, Denver at Kansas City at 8:15 because it's a it's a Thursday night game.
Right. And so, if the NFL said, pretty much screw you NBA, we're going to take over every single day that there is on the calendar. And so those are some interesting games right there. So the NBA certainly has lost a lot of, if not all of their luster for those big games on that day. But Dustin, I was going to talk about this a little rant, because that first Friday you've got the Chiefs playing the Chargers down in Brazil, which is very interesting. That's another divisional rival right there. But why do they have to play it on a Friday night? Let the kids have their own night to play football, okay? And I'm sure that there are good high school football teams around where you guys live. There's one that's right up the road from us, and they make the playoffs every single year. And going to a game is a special, experience. So why do you have to choose between going to a football game, a high school game and cheering for the kids, or watching the NFL? It shouldn't have to come to that.
Well, I mean, it's regional. I mean, high school football up here isn't as big as in Texas and California.
They made an entire movie and a series out of that. So I can see that.
I guess they're starting this because they want to have an international game right off the bat on Friday, because this one's in Sao Paulo. But remember last year what happened in Sao Paulo between the Eagles and the Packers, excuse me. Yes. Jordan Love was lost for 6 weeks because of an injury because they weren't used to the playing surface at Corinthians Stadium in Sao Paulo. It's a soccer field, not a football field. So it's the cut of the turf is different, and they had to probably adjust their shoes at some point. But here's the peculiar thing about that Friday game, that first Friday game. For the first time, it's going to be on YouTube.
Oh man!
So I don't know.
You got to have YouTube TV for that.
That's my question. Does it have to? Do you have to have a YouTube TV subscription in order to watch this game, or is it just going to be straight up on YouTube to anyone I have YouTube Premium because I hate too. I hate watching.
If I can't watch that, then I might be sending YouTube a cancellation notice too. So
listen, we're not the ones who are going to be canceled, okay, Kevin? I'm just
saying.
Just the messengers.
Okay, if I'm paying for premium and it's on YouTube, I should be able to watch on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. I don't disagree. Yeah. So I'm looking at the schedules, right? I'm looking at the strength of schedule, and if you want guys want to take a guess at the toughest schedules and the easiest schedules.
Okay.
Which 3 teams have the toughest schedules?
Oh man. All right.
I'll give you a hint. They're all in the NFC.
Oh wow. No, because I thought the Chiefs would have a tough schedule based on that's
their schedule. They're let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they're 11th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're 11th in the strength of schedule. Their strength of schedule is 522.
All right, let's see. I haven't looked at them all in detail because I was focusing on the primetime games and highlighting matches that stuck out to me.
Pop quiz hot shot.
So I'm going to guess the Philadelphia Eagles, the Los Angeles Rams, and there's always one surprising team in there that has why do they have such a hard strength of schedule? I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. Philadelphia is the 4th toughest schedule. So you were close. You were
Okay.
close. Minnesota has the 7th toughest schedule. The Rams have the 17th.
Oh,
toughest
wow.
schedule.
Okay. So
They're
I
number
was way
17.
off.
They're just under the Mendoza line.
Okay.
The Giants have the toughest schedule. Their opponents winning percentage is .574, followed by the Bears.
Okay.
The
I
Bears.
almost guessed the
With a
Bears.
.571. Actually tied. They're tied with the Detroit Lions for the second toughest schedule. They both have a .571 winning percentage for their respective opponents, and then right after them is Philadelphia,
Okay.
followed by the Cowboys and Packers. They're tied for 4th or 5th. Then the Vikings, then the Commanders at 550.
Okay.
So the top 8 toughest schedules are all NFC teams.
That's because they're playing each other.
Because they're playing each other, and because it's three of those teams. Actually, pretty much all those teams are NFC East and NFC North.
Right. And you got
All of them.
what, 2 teams up at the top that lost 3 games total?
You have
Between the 2 of them?
The Giants, the Lions finished 14-3. The Vikings finished 14-3. The worst,
Okay.
by the way, the second worst 14-3 team ever.
Oh man, that one year we
Although
just
13-4. They were 13-4.
Yeah, they were 13-4. We kept hammering the Vikings that
Oh
year.
my gosh. I actually watched an episode of No Ticket Required, our Mr. Baseball episode, and we talked about them, and you said, yeah, we hammered them. I'm like, yeah, they deserve to be hammered because they were the worst 13-4 team ever.
Because their defense was so bad.
Their defense sucked. They were in the negative in points differential, and they still finished 13-4.
Yeah.
But that's the 3 teams that had the toughest schedules are the Giants, who were dog's breakfast last year.
Yeah.
The Bears, who are also equally dog's breakfast after week 6, they were complete dog's breakfast. And then the Lions, who were pretty damn good last year, although except for the divisional.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, take a gander at the three teams that have the easiest schedule. Hint, 2 of those teams are in the NFC.
All right. Since I guessed for the strength of schedule, I'm going to let our esteemed guest have a crack at this one.
Okay,
Right,
so I happen to know that the team that has the easiest schedule, unfortunately for us, is the San Francisco 49ers.
That is correct.
Okay.
I do know that's a fact. Okay, so after that, I'm going to say Arizona would be one of them. And one of them is an AFC team, so Buffalo Bills.
Okay. So you are correct. The team with the easiest schedule is the San Francisco 49ers. They have their collective opponents last year had a .415 winning percentage. At 31, the New Orleans Saints.
Well, maybe that's fortunate for them because they have no quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna say they're gonna be dog water this year. So
yeah, their car drove off into the sunset, unfortunately.
Yeah, Kellen Moore, first year coach. Mickey Loomis, unfortunately, is your GM.
He's got something on the Bensons. I'm telling you, there's no other way that Mickey Loomis still has a job.
With a name like Mickey Loomis, doesn't that sound like he's an underworld figure to begin with?
Yeah. He could be taking some off the top.
He's Kingpin. He's the Kingpin of the South. And at number 30, the New England Patriots, their opponent's collective winning percentage last year was
division has a lot to do with that.
429. I mean, Miami bounced back after a rough start. I still think I'm still low on the Miami Dolphins. I don't say that because I can't stand their fans. Their fans are always pie in the sky. This is our year. It's not your year, okay?
All right, I
You're-
got to have you and Derek over for more games this year. It'll be fun.
They are a quarterback hit away from a rebuild. Okay.
Yeah.
Their salary cap is screwed between from paying Tua, Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Bradley Chubb, and they were this close to trading Tyreek Hill again.
Yeah.
Like they put him on the block, and then it's like, wait a second, why? And
all those guys have a hard time staying on the field.
Yeah.
So that's not
And then-
a good. That's not good.
Yeah, and then my Jets were awful last year, even though, but again, the no credentials required stink. Both Dustin and I had them in the Super Bowl last year.
I
And of
bought
course,
into the
they
Aaron
crap-
Rodgers
they-
experiment.
I bought into. That pyramid scheme lasted pretty much until about week
3.
week 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well that was the Seahawks matchup, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, that lasted until November 10th. That was after the Thanksgiving game, because after the Halloween game.
Oh yeah.
Because the Halloween game, when they beat the Texans, I was like, all right, we're back.
Yeah.
We're so back. And then they went
Yeah.
to Arizona and they got punched in the face repeatedly. And I said, you know what? Wash my hands. I'm done. But the Jets schedule, and I'll talk about them, and I'll wax on them for a moment or two.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
They actually had the 7th easiest schedule at 460. This is who they had this year. And actually, if you go to my, again, shameless plug for my Twitter account at who is Ryan MCC, what I actually did was that I took the schedule and I made it into Simpsons gifs.
Oh man.
So week 1 they got Pittsburgh. Week 2, week 1 they got Pittsburgh at home. The first two games of the year, they're at home, which is amazing.
Week 2 is Buffalo, though.
Week 2 is Buffalo.
I had that highlighted as an interesting game to me.
So week 2 is at Buffalo, or sorry, at home against Buffalo. Week 3 is Week 3 they're at Tampa. Week 4 Monday night at Miami.
They got that one.
Week 5, actually, the next 3 weeks they're considered home games. So week 5, they're at home at MetLife against Dallas. Then they're at London to play Denver. That's going to be a game circled on the calendar, because that's a game that they certainly should have won last year. Back home the next week against Carolina. At Cincinnati, then a bye week. At home against the Browns. Then at New England for Thursday Night Football. At Baltimore, which that's not going to be an easy game.
Mm-hmm.
Then they split the next 6 games between home and away. So the next 2 weeks, Thanksgiving weekend, they're at home against Atlanta. Then they're at home against Miami. At Jacksonville, at New Orleans, at home against New England to wrap up the home schedule. Then TBD, week 18 against the Buffalo Bills. Excuse me.
I feel that week 8 could be another test for the Jets, Ryan, to see where they are, barometer, see where Justin Fields is against Cincinnati. But you have to wonder, will Trey Hendrickson be in Cincinnati?
That's right.
And also their defense was bad, but I was thinking when I earmarked it as an interesting game in week 8, Brian, it was because I thought if the Jets can somehow keep up, because we know the Bengals offense is going to be there. Even if the Bengals start slow, like they always do, by week 8, they should be the Bengals offense. So I feel like this would be a good test for the Jets defense and to see if their offense with Justin Fields under center can keep up with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. They're the 7th easiest schedule. And you should say on paper, you should see on paper, oh, the Jets are going to have a cakewalk, which is funny because on my tagline,
Yeah,
the
I
live
was
stream,
gonna
I
say your
put,
headline.
this schedule is a cakewalk. It's really not. It's really not, because they have the 4 They're playing the 4 AFC Central teams, or AFC Central, AFC North teams. They have that crossover. They have the AFC South, or AFC South, and the NFC South this year. Their extra game is in London against the Denver Broncos again. I think many of those who stayed after last year, they remember that game because that was right out. They're riding that high after they beat New England on Thursday Night Football, and they should have beaten them by much more than 24-3. Even though their defense dominated that game, their offense had so many missed chances to just run up the score on the New England Patriots, and they missed out. They were riding that high, and then bad weather hit, and Aaron Rodgers' age was starting to show. Which, by the way, Aaron Rodgers still keeping the Pittsburgh Steelers in limbo. It's like, dude, make a decision because the longer you stay, the longer you keep them from. The longer you keep from making the decision, the longer their plans are to go with Mason Rudolph as their quarterback.
Yeah, and that honestly, that's why I had Week 6. One of my notable games, I had Cleveland versus Pittsburgh because you don't know who their quarterback is going to be for either team. You don't know.
Yeah, Cleveland's got 75 quarterbacks in their quarterback room right now. So
yeah,
you don't know who's going to be playing.
I have a bold prediction about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay,
I think Will Howard starts Week 1.
Will Howard? Oh wow!
Because their quarterback room right now is Mason Rudolph,
yeah.
Will Howard, reach for the Skylar Thompson.
Oh no!
You know what? I'm kind of with you. Because I forgot how bad Skylar Thompson was for the Miami Dolphins. Right?
That's why he was a third-string quarterback in Miami.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
you're a third-string quarterback for a reason.
Yeah, yeah. All right, boys. Any concluding thoughts before we move on to our last segment of the night?
I just want to say, to Kevin's point, Thursday Night Football, it hasn't been the best, but there's some matchups in there this time that are some intriguing ones, like the Falcons-Bucks. Do they have a repeat of one of the best games on Thursday Night Football last year? But I still say you should do it. Start Thursday Night Football at Week 10. Don't do it throughout the whole season, but they'll never do that with the money. No. Sunday Night Football, there's some good ones. Detroit versus Philly, Cincy versus Baltimore. I always love a divisional matchup.
Yep.
And, of course, Seattle at Washington. Going to have my eye on that. And Baltimore versus the Bills. It's good. So, again, the schedulers, I'd say overall, they know what they're doing because they're going off of some of the same stuff we are in this show. You only have, okay, who are the stars on some of the teams? What did they do last year? What are some of the signings that went in? But I just want to say the NFL schedulers, they usually do a good job. Yeah. Hats off to them. And but we know the best part about the NFL is there's going to be a game on here that we haven't even like maybe it was Carolina versus the Chiefs, and I just saw that game and I was like, I won't be watching that. But you know what? Maybe Carolina makes a jump next year. You never know with the NFL. You never know.
Yeah. Before we go to our last segment of the night, Jersey G checking in saying, just wanted to say hi, friends. Going to sleep after I send this, so I hope you all have a good night. Thanks, Jersey G.
Oh, wow.
Appreciate you.
Great to see you, Jersey.
Yes. All right, our last segment of the night, our favorite athletes to wear the number 35. And I'm going to lead off with this one because
go ahead.
Because I gotta.
Because you can.
Because I can. I have controls, so I'm at the con, so I'm gonna start. So there. I decided to go with baseball with this one, just like the last one, That's number 34. Number 35. I'm gonna go with first baseman for the Chicago White Sox for many a year, Mr. Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt.
I thought you might go with the Big Hurt, Ryan. I thought.
Yes, also played Ricky Davis in a New York Yankees uniform in Mr. Baseball, 1992.
I forgot about that.
Oh, he's just pulling the ball. 500 feet to center later. But yeah, Frank Thomas, if you're long-time Chicago White Sox player, legendary career there. Also played for the Toronto Blue Jays, and I think he also played for the Oakland A's for a spell.
He did play for the Oakland A's. That I remember.
Yeah, we don't need to discuss that though.
Yeah, that
No.
was.
But the fact of the matter is, and now he's schlepping for Nugenics.
Well, that's one of the reasons I didn't pick him, Ryan, because that commercial makes me cringe so hard when he's like, "She'll like it too."
You'll like
he
the
does
results.
like the little
She'll like
smile.
it too.
I was like, I can't do that.
But yes, Chicago White Sox, Oakland A's from 2006 to 2008, and he concluded his career with the Toronto Blue Jays in 2007, 2008. One of my favorite non-Yankees to play baseball in the 1990s. Two-time All-Star, two-time MVP, five-time All-Star, four-time Silver Slugger, home run derby champ, won a batting title, won the Major League Player of the Year for TSN back in the day. Also, a Hall of Famer. 521 career home runs.
I was gonna guess 515.
You were so close. Part of the fight. Yes, he was part of the. He's part of the fight. He's one of the members of the 500 home run club. Also part of the 2000 hit club. 2,468 career hits. 301 career batting average. Not only a power slugger, power hitter, but also hit for average. This guy was phenomenal at the bat. At bat.
He didn't sell out for power.
He didn't. For power. No, he hit for average and for power. One of the guys you rooted for back in the day. This is one of the guys, and actually, he did win a World Series.
He did.
I was gonna say, I'm like, oh man, he's one of those guys you really hope he win a World Series. 2005 was on that squad that won the World Series. Yep, with the White Sox, and haven't been back since. But he only played 34 games that year, but he still got his ring. So good for him. That's marketable guy. I think he had a shoe with Reebok, if I'm not mistaken. Because I remember Ken Griffey Jr. had the shoe with Nike.
Yep.
As did Deion Sanders. He had that the first ever cross trainers, with the football and baseball shoe. But Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, had the contract with Reebok. That was back in the day when athletes were scoring shoe deals left and right, and there was a big bonanza to sign whatever athlete to endorse your shoe. I remember succinctly Frank Thomas wearing Reeboks, and they called him the Big Hurts. But yeah, fantastic ball player. I guess great guy off the field too. Hall of Famer, deservedly so. So that's my favorite to wear number 35. Dustin, your favorite to wear number 35.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say good pick, Ryan, for Frank Thomas. I did consider him because I put many an hour into Frank Thomas's Big Hurt Baseball on the Game Boy. Things come back to video games for me, as they often do. I'm sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
But
no, it's okay.
My pick, again, I've been waffling all day. Ryan and Kevin got a little glimpse into this, but I've been waffling. I love Mike Mussina. I loved one of my best memories of live sports was watching him pitch in his final season in baseball in a Yankee uniform. I loved watching him pitch for the Orioles too. He was one of those players that I kind of silently rooted for, even though he was a rival, but I did not pick him. I ultimately decided to go with number 35, a goaltender for my beloved Edmonton Oilers. I figured I have to give them. Thank you.
Over alert.
Thank you. I have to give them a shout out for advancing to the Western Conference Finals. But Tommy Salo, Swedish goaltender, Tommy Salo. I just always loved the way Tommy Salo played, perhaps because I remember him from his Edmonton Oilers years. Because that, Ryan, when he was traded to the Edmonton Oilers in 1999, that's where he really found his stride. He had his best goals against percentage there. He went to 2 All-Star games as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. His run from 99 to about 2002, pretty good if you look at the numbers.
Pretty good.
He played for Edmonton for 6 seasons, and then I believe he went to the Avs after that. And I kind of fell off Tommy Salo once he left the Oilers, but I don't have as many stats to back up the reason why I always loved Tommy Salo. I think I liked his helmet. That's part of the reasons. But also, I just thought the fact that he was Swedish was cool because I've always been a fan of the Swedish chef from the Muppets. So
Pork.
But
Turkey
the main reasons is I had a hockey game that was from 2001. It was a Wayne Gretzky hockey game. I played it on the Nintendo 64, and I always selected my Edmonton Oilers with Tommy Salo in goal. And let me tell you, I did pretty well for myself. And that game had a graphic where if you stopped so many consecutive shots, the goalie would literally turn into a brick wall in goal. And then the announcer would be like, "He's a wall in there." And Tommy Salo always did right by me in that game. And I just always picked him. I'm like, Tommy Salo, even when he wasn't the starter, like if he wasn't the projected starter in the game, because sometimes they do like projections, they theorize who they think is going to start and they put them as like the starter. I would always switch it out and I'd be like, Salo's going in there. Salo's going to take me to the promised land. Tommy Salo, you get the hat tip, my friend. I loved watching you play for my Oilers, where you really found your stride after being drafted by the New York Islanders in, I think, 93, debuted in 94, if I'm not mistaken. But
yep, he was fifth over. He was drafted in the 5th round in 1993. Made his debut in the 1994-95 season. Played with those awful Mike Milbury teams. But his fortunes changed when he was traded to Edmonton. Was an All-Star 2 times. Was a 2-time All-Star with the as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. So
that's why I remember him so fondly, because he did well in goal for my Edmonton Oilers.
Solid pick. And yes, you were correct. He concluded his career in 2004 with the Colorado Avalanche. So yeah. We're gonna wrap things up. Kevin, your favorite number 35.
Well, as I recall, that because you and Dustin had said that you've never had a occasion where the two of you have picked the same player at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's at an end, because when we were talking about this, pre-show, and I said you could put a homer alert on there on me because I grew up in northern Indiana, about 40 miles from Chicago. Okay, and so I went up and saw the White Sox play. And so my answer is also Frank Thomas.
Hey.
Okay, there we go.
And so for all the reasons that you mentioned, and also the Big Hurt is one of the great nicknames that have ever come down the highway. And of course, for anybody, not just in sports, but the Big Hurt certainly described him. And you mentioned it that he was on in Mr. Baseball, which is one of my favorite movies. Whenever that movie's on, I have to settle in and watch it. It's a great show. I liked it a lot.
It is a great movie.
It is a great movie, and Tom Selleck and everything else. And so for those reasons, and because I was able to see him play with my own eyes, and I saw all these 35s that were New York Yankees, so I thought for sure that that's where you were going to head in your picks. And so I felt pretty secure in my selection in Frank Thomas, even though, because we talked about it, pre-show. And now, so I got sideswiped by you.
well, yeah, I wasn't sure about Dustin because I know he said that Mike Messina was one of his favorite Yankees.
Yes.
And he wore number 35. Actually, he came, I think, one or two batters close to a perfect game against Boston in I think 1999.
Yes.
And it was that game. It was a game against David Cohn.
Yes, and Cohn was also pitching very well,
yes.
Which you just may hear about David Cohn very shortly. Because if I'm right about the number he wore, you may hear about him very shortly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Actually, that was in 2001. I'm sorry, 2001.
Oh, 2001. I watched that game on TV, and I was conflicted because I love David Cone, and I'm like, but he's pitching for the Red Sox, man.
Yeah, I
But
know. Yeah.
So if there was ever anybody that was larger than life, David Cone certainly qualifies with that. So,
Sure.
but he wasn't larger than life than Frank Thomas was,
No.
and it would be difficult to find somebody that was. And he helped bring a stop to the 1919 Black Sox scandal, curse up there in Chicago. And they were able to end that curse before the Cubs did with the GOAT and everything else. And so for those reasons and all the reasons why you mentioned in your quite well-stated case, Frank Thomas is my favorite to wear the number 35.
Speaking of Mr. Baseball, shout out to Hiroko.
Oh yeah, shout out to you. And also, just you were right up there with the nicknames. I mean, his nickname is so good. I had to use it. Longtime fantasy league that I'm still running. We had divisions in it. I just got rid of divisions this year because people didn't want divisions anymore. But the two divisions in that league for a long time, one division was the Big Hurt in honor of Frank Thomas, and the other division was the Big Unit. I kept it going with Randy Johnson there. I kind of went with a theme,
Yeah, big.
You didn't name your team the Hurt Unit?
I did not, but that would have been a good name. I mean, because you made me expose my baseball team's name on the show here, Ryan. But when you have a name like that, you don't get rid of it.
No, you don't.
I couldn't believe that was a real name.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, D's Ray Sunshine chiming in with her number 35. Nico Johnson was a stable linebacker for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He wasn't perfect, but he did a lot of things right. For his career, he had 87 total tackles, 16 and a half tackles for loss, and 2 picks, selected by the Chiefs in the 2013 draft. So,
Okay, that's a lot of knowledge right there.
Yeah,
she's got that Bama in her.
Yeah, thank you very much. I shouted you out last show for it. Keep this bit going. I am impressed every time you come up with an Alabama Crimson Tide with whatever number we have.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Before we do, just want to remind you, follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So search for No Credentials Required. And on check out our other podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And also don't forget to get notified on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when the live show goes up. That way you know when show announcements go up. And that way you know when we upload clips from the show. Because this will be replayed on the Belly Up YouTube channel tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. On the podcast side, rate, review, comment, give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a review if you're on a podcast platform where you can review the podcast. Leave us a podcast. We might even read it on the air. And on Spotify, if you're a Spotify subscriber, leave us a comment. You can leave it on past and present episodes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
tell the people where they can find you.
Well, you can always find me on Twitter. I think I said that correctly. I had it wrong last week.
I call it.
Okay, that's fine. At Kevin62 WILSEA, and we've talked a little bit about it. Myself and Dustin and Mr. Smooth will be having a Seahawks session show coming within the next few days, I'm assuming. So keep an eye out for that. And also on YouTube, I do, as I mentioned, a weekly fantasy MVP series. So check that out. And also Sunday nights, Vince and I have our fantasy baseball live show. And so you definitely want to check that out. And it's been a busy sports week, as I said. So you definitely want to get over there. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out. I'm on Reddit a lot. And any questions are certainly fair game. So bring it and I'll answer.
All right. And just in case you cared about a score update, still 6-1 in the 7th inning for the New York Yankees over the New York Mets. Scoreless in Florida between the Maple Leafs and the Panthers. And at halftime, the New York Knicks lead the Boston Celtics 64-37.
All right,
Okay.
man.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that because
Come on, bring it.
Here it is.
Bring it.
A PSA from our tribal chief.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Shout out
What
to
a
our
way
tribal
to end the show. Am I right up with that or what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm saying it right here, live production meeting on the show, Ryan. If the Knicks close this out, we gotta reach out to Wise. We gotta have him on the show.
We gotta have him on the show to do it. We have to have him do a proper eulogy for the Boston Celtics.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Either him or Levac. We gotta have one of those.
Okay.
Two on.
Okay.
And as you know, if the Knicks do close this out, then it's me versus the two of you, because as I mentioned, I grew up in Indiana. So Indiana Pacers, got to back them over here in the Wilson household. So it'll be me versus the two of you. And I look forward to that.
Well, we talked about this last Saturday. I am not a Knicks supporter because of one. James
Right. I remember that. And there was an excellent clip that you put out there. I thought that was outstanding.
Thank you. And D's Ray Sunshine saying, thank you guys. Thank you to Kevin for joining the show. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for joining us on the Friday happy hour edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. We'll be back on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, our regular Tuesday time. And then next week, we'll be back on Saturday morning on our 10 a.m. regular 10 a.m. slot with Kevin reviewing the week in baseball. So for Kevin and Dustin, I'm Ryan. Have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy all the sports out there. We'll be back here on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. We hope you can join us on our social channels and listen on the podcast side afterwards. So have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
There it is.